Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Clickbait Coffee. We're going to give it a minute to catch up. Cheddar Prepper's in here at 7:29 this morning. First one. We've got Only Jesus Saves, Acts 4:12, and there's salvation in no one else, for there's no other name under heaven that has been given among men by which you must be saved. Exactly, 100%. Then Jesus is the only one that saves us. Nothing else is going to. Hag Homestead's in here. Good morning. Bill's here. Good morning. Darren, Hacks for the Homesteader. Good morning. Darren, how cold is it in Kansas? It's like 31 here. I'm tired of the cold weather. I'm ready for like spring, but not really like super spring, because then we just get spring, then we get summer, and it's hotter than all get out. And Pilgrim, good morning, 5x5. Thank you. And Bill's got a 2x4 for me. All right, guys, today's Friday. We're going to have a good weekend. I've got all kinds of stuff to do this weekend. So yesterday, I was packing a bunch of orders, getting all that fun stuff out. And then I had to go meet the granite guys at my brother's house. They installed the granite countertops yesterday. So I've got some stuff to do after the live this morning, some orders and some stuff like that. And then I want to head down and start laying stone at my brother's house on his fireplace. So that's going to be my day. And then I actually don't think we have anything to do tonight. So I'm probably going to do some work down here. I've got some videos to edit and fun stuff like that. And then Saturday we've got a basketball game and all that fun stuff. And then I'm planning on doing some stuff around here and some stuff in the office. And Darren says it's 26 there. Ooh, I think like Sunday it's supposed to be, let's see. I think my wife was telling me Sunday it's going to be like, the high is going to be only like 20 something. Let's see. Yeah, Sunday the high is going to be 27. Greg New, good morning. All right. Hey, one thing I want to tell you, VacMaster has a smoking sale. I'm going to order another chamber sealer. I've been wanting a chamber sealer because we're going to do finally finish the kitchenette down here and move the freeze dryer and all that fun stuff. And I was like, I want another chamber sealer for the house, because the one I've got is one of the real big ones, and we keep it down in the shop when we do pig processing or do lambs, anything like that, to where I've got it down there. But I absolutely hate if we're going to seal a bunch of meat up that we got to run all the way down to the shop, seal everything, and come back. It's just a pain in the butt. So I'm going to order a new chamber sealer for the house. I'm going to order a smaller one. But VacMaster's got first, anything that you buy, you get a free burger press. Anything over $25, you'll get like one of the cast iron burger presses. But they've got 15% off if you spend $600 or more, plus they'll give you a free walnut knife block. There's no knives in it. It's just a walnut block to put the knives you've already got. So 15% off if you spend $600 or more, 20% off if you spend $800 or more, and then you get the 10-piece knife roll set. And if you've seen, I've got some of those knife roll sets. We gave one away on here, Shelly and I. Those things are pretty stinking nice. So you'll get 20% off $800 and a free knife set. And then if you spend $1,000 or more, you get 25% off. Plus a mobile table, one of their stainless steel tables to set your chamber sealer on. It's got casters on it and everything. And if you use the code Homestead, you'll get an extra 15% off that. So check that out. Smoking deals. I'm going to order one probably tomorrow and get me another chamber sealer for the house. So we've got that. Also, you can see down at the bottom of the screen, the bleeding control kits. That's your bleeding control kit right there. That's one of our new things we came up with. Good morning, Forrest. We did a bunch of these for our church. Pretty much every Sunday school room at our church that has kids in it has a bleeding control kit. Those jokers they've got a cat tourniquet. You got a set of hyphen chest seals, a 4-inch trauma bandage, 2 compressed gauze, a set of trauma shears, an emergency blanket, a Slishman wrap, and a set of gloves, and then an instruction card that comes with it. These are great for sticking in. I mean, you could keep one of these in the back seat of your truck or in the glove box. You could keep one in your desk at work. Would be great. Or if you got a backpack that you carry around all the time, you could stuff this in your backpack. And I think it weighs about a pound. So it's not going to be super heavy, not take up a ton of room. Those are 15% off if you use the code BLEED15. They're on the website, so go check it out. Forrest, good morning. And then the last thing I need to ask everybody to do me a favor. We've got on the website, we set it up. Finally, I'd been putting it off, and I'm like, we've got to set it up where we can do reviews for stuff. So if you have purchased any product, and we sent emails out to everybody, but anybody that has purchased a product or come to the festival, whether you've helped with the festival, been a volunteer, or whether you've purchased tickets for it or not, if you could go to the website, if you've purchased anything or been to the festival, leave a review for us. That helps out a bunch when people are looking at products and looking about the festival. If they see a bunch of great reviews, they're like, hey, we're going to go to the festival. These guys are doing something cool. So if you can, run to the website, leave a review for the festival, or if you bought products, leave a review for that. It just helps out so much in looking at stuff. And if you're anything like me, and I know you probably are, if you're buying something on a website, you look at reviews of stuff. And if something's got a crappy review, you're like, man, I'm not going to buy it. But if something's got a 4.5 and 5-star reviews, people are like, this is the real deal. We should buy tickets to the festival because it's going to be an awesome 3 days. So leave us a review for that. I know Forrest is going to leave a 5-star review because Forrest has been to pretty much everyone. Greg Skeens, good morning. How's Mary Beth doing? I saw her post on Facebook, and it seems like she's doing pretty good. So I hope she is. This weekend, I've got some stuff to do around here. I'm going to probably go pick up some hay this weekend for the sheep. And then depending, I'm probably not going to do anything outside on Sunday because it's going to be like brutal cold. So Sunday might be work down in the basement and start working on moving some stuff to get the kitchenette where I can put cabinets in, all that kind of stuff. I've got to move 2 freezers and I've got to move them into the storage room. So I'll probably wind up messing around with that a little bit on Sunday. That'll be a good inside project. But what's everybody got planned for this weekend? I would like to know. So, and Greg says she's doing better. Good. I'm glad to hear that, Greg. All right. That's all I've got for all the update stuff. Go Cuck V Farmers here. Good morning. But yeah, go leave a review on the website and do that for me. Check out Backmaster Sales, the smoking deals. We'll go ahead and get into the big topic. I was looking at some of this, and it's like a lot of preparedness people are like, hey, I'm super prepared for whatever comes my way. We've got this, we've got that. We're super prepared for everything that's going to come our way. There's a lot of fallacies and a lot of denial and stuff that people think they're more prepared than what they are. So Dan Glover, good morning from Tennessee. So the concept of denial, it's kind of like a psychological blind spot that it's like, I've got this handled when reality kind of says otherwise on stuff. And it's kind of almost, almost the more prepared you are, the more blind you are to certain things. So we'll get into some of the denial. I've got like 8 pieces of denial stuff that people are looking at. They think they're more prepared than what they are. In reality, you're probably not. And Bill says, this weekend is going to consist of finishing the arrangement of the shop, and get my buddy's truck in and getting it done. I need the money for the pig netting and solar charger. Chantel, good morning. Singles event on Saturday and then work on Sunday. So denial number one, I've got enough food. People are like, I mean, this is one thing that kind of burns me. People are like, I bought a year's supply of food. And if you really look at it, if you went to one of these companies that sells freeze dried food, it's like, hey, I bought a year's supply of food. And you start really looking at calorie intake. A bunch of these calories just come straight from these sugary drinks. And you're like, no, I don't have enough food. Or realistically, you've done the breakdown and you're like, yeah, I've got a year's supply of beans and rice. And you're just like, oh, when you really start looking at it, you don't have a year's supply of beans and rice when you're technically looking at it. You don't just need calories, you need a balanced diet for nutrition and stuff like that. A lot of people will leave out proteins. They look at it, I don't have proteins on stuff. So they'll look at that. There's just a bunch of different stuff. People are like, ooh, I've got this. And let me see. All right. Yeah. And actually, when you really look at it, that year's supply of food might wind up only being 6 months of calories. You've got to have, and some of the mistakes I see people make, they've got almost no fats in there. You have to have fats to survive. You've got to have that fat in your body. And fats are one of the hardest things in nature to have. You've almost forgotten almost all your proteins and stuff. If you look at it, everybody's like wheat, rice, and beans. That's cool, but there's not a lot of protein in all that stuff. And variety. People forget variety. It's just like we've got tons of rice and beans, and it's like, man, you're going to get tired of eating rice and beans real quick. And Bill says you can never have too much food. Exactly. You forget a way to cook. How your fuel to cook the food? How are you going to cook all this stuff? Yes, you can have 10 years worth of food, but then you're like, man, how am I going to cook this stuff? You've got to think about that. Comfort foods. A lot of people forget about comfort foods. Have you stored up some chocolate? Have you stored up some cocoa to make hot chocolate? Stuff like that. In a grid down, you've got to have some comfort food that you're going to go back to. It would be amazing, if you had all this comfort food built up to where you're just like, man, we're not eating beans and rice every day. If I really want a piece of Hershey chocolate, hey, I've got some Hershey chocolate. That would brighten anybody's day, honestly. You forget about foods that require zero water. Yes, we've got all this freeze-dried food, all this kind of stuff, but all that stuff requires water and it requires preparation time. You ought to have some stuff like some MREs and stuff like that essentially you can just rip open. You don't even have to heat up if you don't want to. And you can just go with it and just eat it on the go. Or if it's something in a hurry, rip the MRE open and eat that thing right there. And you'll be burning a lot of more calories because you'll be doing a lot more physical work than normal. Yeah. And that's the thing. People are like, oh, I'm going to do 2,000 calories. I mean, 2,000 calories is okay. I mean, that's kind of your minimum. If you were doing a lot of physical work, 2,000 calories, you're probably going to be losing weight every day. So search or, try to do it for 3,000 calories if you can. And also, don't say, well, I've got two middle-aged males in there. We're going to do 3,000 calories for them. Then we've got two females. We're only going to do 2,500 calories for them. And then there's 4 kids. The kids don't need as many calories. Figure everything as an adult male. And if you do it that way, then you're going to have a little bit of a surplus. Because yes, grandma and the kids are not going to be eating near as many calories as the men are, but then you've got a surplus on that. If something happened and you've planned, somebody else comes in, you've got extra calories. And then also when you're doing this, your kids might only be 10 years old, but you're planning this and the kids are going to get older. So then, that 10-year-old might wind up being a 15 or 16-year-old. And you're like, crap, I only planned for 1,500 calories, and now this kid's 16. man, he needs 3,000 calories a day. So just plan it all on a meal and 3,000 calories per day is what I would do. And then you're always going to be pretty good on that. Another big thing is water, the delusional thing. Every prepper says that, they all say the same thing. I've got water. And it's like, cool, bro, show me what you've got. Let's really look at this. The common delusion is I've got a Brita filter. I've got a life straw. I've got bottled water in my pantry, or I'll use my bathtub. That's fine. All those things are. I don't know if Brita will filter out, if Brita is going to filter out viruses and stuff like that. I don't have a Brita. I've got life straws and then pure bag water filters. So the thing is, the life straw and the pure bags and stuff like that are great, but you have to have a source of water to filter. So look at that. It's like, yeah, I can have a ton of pure bag water filters or life straws or whatever, but if you've got no water to filter, you're dead. I mean, it's just the straw, the filters are useless without a source of water to use them in. And then people, it's like, I've got bottled water in the pantry. That's great. There's not that much. You can only stock so much bottled water doing that. And it's not going to last that long. I mean, I go through the cases. I think they're a 40-pack of Sam's bottled water. I keep one of those in the truck. I can go through one of those, and this is not even drinking it all the time. I keep them in the truck for when I want water. I can go through one of those in a week and a half pretty quick. And that's just drinking them during work hours or when I'm close to the truck. That's not even, if think that thing wouldn't last you. Let me see. Those are 16.9 ounces, and there's 40 in there divided by, that's only 5.25 gallons of water. That's going to last you 2 days on there. So think of it. I mean, think of that. That's 2 days of water. So yeah, if you've got 4 cases and you've got a family of 4, that's cool. Your 4 cases of water are going to last your family 2 days. Think about it. In reality, everybody says, the whole 1 to 2 gallons per person per day. That's great if you're just going to be drinking it. I'm shooting for 3 to 4, possibly 5 gallons of water per person per day, because you're going to need at least a gallon to clean your stinky butt up. You're going to need a gallon to clean your utensils and stuff like that with, and then you're going to need at least a gallon to 2 gallons for food prep and for drinking. So don't just do the bare minimum of a gallon to 1 gallon per person. Shoot for 3 or 4 gallons per person per day. Because like I said, you're going to need stuff for washing, cleaning, cooking, and stored water is going to get used fast. And then also you got to figure out on your animals. Hey, I mean, how many gallons of water do my chickens drink every day? How many gallons of water do the dogs need every day? How many gallons of water do all my sheep need every day? Most people don't have enough containers. They don't have enough stuff ready to catch, to do any kind of water catchment, anything like that. And then a lot of people can't catch enough water to sustain themselves. Honest to goodness, probably 90 to 95% of the people would be in a world of hurt if the water supply went down today. And Bill says, just to maintain the little weight I have, I need something like 5,000 calories a day. And Greg says, get in shape now. Producing food and being self-sufficient is hard work. Exactly. And that's one of my things. I hadn't got to it, Greg. Greg's too fast on some stuff. And Cuck V, also plan on not having good harvest from garden. In the winter, chickens slow down on making eggs. In the winter, you burn a lot more calories keeping warm. Yeah, I mean, you can burn a lot more calories in the wintertime. I burn more calories than sleeping than most people do in one day. And then filtering gray water for showering is a great way to conserve water. Yeah, and then also your shower water, that gray water, you can shoot it out on your garden or something like that. Put it on your raised beds. Put it in your food forest, or going for your trees and stuff like that. Heck, you could even use it in your compost piles if you wanted to, because you need to keep your compost piles moist enough and at optimum moisture, so you could use it right there. All right. Another one is security stuff. All the preparedness guys, we all love gear. I admit I love gear, backpacks, guns, knives, all that kind of stuff. I like gear, but most of the gear I've got, we use on stuff. I actually use it all the time. But gear does not equal security. Security equals training, mindset, and realistic plans. You can have all the gear in the world. I can have 1,000 bleeding control kits. I can have 1,000 radios with me. But if I don't know how to use any of those things, they're no good to me. They give me no sense of security. I could have all the medical supplies in the world, but if I don't know how to use any of those, there's no security in having that stuff. The radios, I could have the most expensive ham radio setup ever. I could have $20,000 of ham radio equipment, but if I don't know how to turn that joker on and get a hold of somebody, it's $20,000 of crap is all it is. That's just sitting there. It's paperweights. And that goes with anything. Pew-pews, all that stuff. If I don't know how to use it, they're paperweights. They're useless. And then most people think they're prepared for home defense because they've got a gun, a dog, and a camera. And Greg, community is vital to security. Exactly. Most people, they've got a gun, they got a camera, and they got their dog, and they're like, we're going to defend the place. It's a lot more than that. You got to kind of look at stuff like, when was the last time that you did any kind of training under stress? When we go to some medical classes and stuff like that and getting our certificates to be instructors and everything, we're going under stressful situations. Yes, you can put your tourniquet on sitting there at the table or sitting there at your desk. But when you've got somebody yelling and screaming and you're under stress and you've ran over to somebody to see what was wrong with them, can you put that tourniquet on? Or your fine motor skills done? You've got to have that training under stress, that after you get under a stressful situation, you're like, man, if I can do this under a stressful situation, I'm set and ready to go. It just needs to become second nature. When's the last time you tested your alarm systems? Whether you got the little, tripwire alarm set out on your place and stuff like that. When's the last time you went out and checked those? Do you have layered defense zones for your place? Do you have a gate at the front of your property to where everybody can't just drive right on up in your front yard to your house? Do you have the gate? Do you got another system set up to where people can't come? Do you have fence all the way around, the perimeter of your property just to keep people from just wandering on in? If you've got a fence with a thing of barbed wire on top, that's just an obstacle. Most people are going to stop when they see the fence. A lot of people aren't just going to climb over the fence and come on in. A fence is a physical deterrent for a lot of people. I'm not saying that people aren't going to do it, but you got a fence to do them a little bit. Can you defend your home without electricity? Yeah, everybody's got cameras, all this kind of stuff. But if the electricity goes out and your cameras are down, do you have a way to know what's going on around your house? Redundancy stuff that'll work without electricity. Nighttime security. What are you going to do about it? I'm not going to say go out and buy thousands of dollars of night vision and thermal and stuff like that. But hey, it might be a good option to have that stuff. Thermal and night vision are a game changer. It's pretty cool to have that stuff. But don't go out and spend all that stuff if you don't have 2 or 3 years supply of food and water at your place. And de-escalation skills should be on the list of that as well. Yeah, and it is, If you don't have to get into a fight, don't get into a fight. And Bill says his security cameras are solar powered. And Darren says a good range reference map for your property is a plus, and a secured fence and gates are a must. Yeah. And, range stuff. I know ranges from my front porch, and there's different ranges that I know how far things are away from certain points at my house. So if you're set up there and you have to do some kind of shooting or anything like that, it's like, hey, this is 92 yards or something, or this is 150 yards, and just know points and stuff like that. Set that up. It's pretty easy to set up, especially if you got a laser rangefinder. My next one is medical. Is a very, very big blind spot for a lot of people. Medical stuff is not sexy. It's not near as cool as that AR-10 sitting over there. Nobody's doing Instagram posts with their new set of nitrile gloves that they bought. They're not like, oh my gosh, I got a new box of nitrile gloves. Let's post this on Instagram. But everybody's posting with their new AR-15 and stuff. It's like, look, I got my new Daniel Defense and all this, my 15th one. And it's like, how many medical supplies do you have? Well, I've got one IFAK for my whole family. And you're like, that's cool. So, and, people prepare for firefights, but they don't prepare for any kind of medical emergencies. They've got, one IFAK, and then they've got some Band-Aids and an old thing of Neosporin that they opened in, 1998 or something. So they've got that. They've got the cool stuff, but they don't have stuff. You're never going to have enough gauze. So everybody needs at least a plain basic first aid kit that will take care of everything from a traumatic, life-threatening injury all the way to, hey, I scratched my finger when I poked my finger and scraped it when I was picking blueberries, and I need to wipe it off and get a Band-Aid on it. Real medical readiness stuff, one of the big things is training. Get the training. If you get a bleeding control kit, get the training on how to use all this stuff. Trauma supplies, tourniquet, chest seal, Schlissman wrap, nasal pharyngeal airway, all the stuff like that. The traumatic stuff that's going to kill you, within 5 minutes if something happens. Get that stuff. All your trauma supplies, gauze, stuff like that. Like I said, you can never have too many gauze. Buy your gauze by the case. I mean, if you really think about it, a major injury that you're going to have to take care of for, 30 days, something like that, you're going to run through a case of gauze, just treating that wound and making sure it stays packed and changing the dressings on it and stuff like that. Over-the-counter stuff. Have a big supply of over-the-counter stuff. Also, herbal remedies. I mean, we're getting more into herbal stuff every day. I talk to Leslie a bunch. She's getting me into that more and more. But have over-the-counter medicines and then also have herbal remedies. The nice thing about herbal remedies is if you've got stuff growing on your place, you can always make the tinctures and you don't have to worry about, essentially running out unless you pick all of it at once and, kill everything. But herbal remedies, they're sustainable, where if you're growing that stuff, you can always go out and get some and make some tinctures. But OTC stuff, have a bunch of OTC stuff. Have Advil, Aleve, anti-diarrhea stuff, Tums. Benadryl is a big thing. If you've got an allergic reaction, have a bunch of Benadryl where you can take it. Long-term prescriptions. Keep, don't wait. I know too many people, if they're on some kind of long-term medication that they take daily, they wait till they've got like 2 pills left and then call in and get their prescription. Man, when that thing starts getting low a little bit, when you've got like 2 weeks left, if your insurance and if the pharmacy will let you do it, re-up that thing. See if you can get 3 months at a time. Maybe see if you can get 6 months at a time. I would like to have as much stuff as I can, stuff that you're going to need every day. Have as much supply of it as you can. And even I know sometimes if your insurance won't pay for more than so much at once, if you got the money and can financially do it, go ahead and get an extra 3 months of it and just pay cash for it, and then you've got it sitting there. I've hit wound care supplies. You're never going to have enough gauze. Get that. You're never going to have enough gauze, Band-Aids, alcohol wipes, alcohol peroxide. You're never going to have too much of that stuff. Also, with medical stuff is sanitation. Figure out where you're going to pee and poop. Figure out what you're going to do with your trash stuff. Have a plan for that stuff, because sanitation is going to kill a lot of people in this. If you're just throwing your trash out wherever trash is going to pile up, if you don't have a plan for bathroom stuff, people are just going to go to the bathroom wherever, and then that's just going to cause disease. You also need water for cleaning stuff up, for cleaning wounds and stuff like that. So have a plan, clean water for doing stuff like that. Gloves, masks, disinfectants for cleaning stuff up. If you get somebody that's sick and they've got the stomach flu and they're throwing up everywhere, have gloves. Have a bunch of cheap nitrile gloves just to clean stuff up. Have, your mask if you need to. Not saying that masks work all the time, or if they ever do work, but have a few of those, and have disinfectant stuff to where you can clean up and do that. Community. Greg hit on this. Let me see. Where do you say it? Yes, right here. Community is vital to security. Community is vital to almost everything that we do in the preparedness realm. You can't do everything alone, honestly. I mean, even if you've got a family of 8, you still can't do everything alone. It's just, you can't pull security all the time. You're going to have to sleep eventually. In most of the preparedness stuff, think about it, it's like, I'll handle it. It'll all be fine. I'll stay hidden, all that kind of stuff. That's not really going to work. And reality stuff is, like I said, you can't pull security 24/7. You can't produce everything you need. I mean, you can produce a lot of what you need, but you can't produce everything that you need. You can't fix everything. I mean, you can't repair everything. I mean, unless you're Darren with Hacks for the Homesteader, you can't fix everything. And then there's probably a few things that Darren can't fix also. But you can't stay awake every night. You can't know every skill. You can know a lot of skills and a lot of stuff on how to do, but you can't be an expert in every skill. Community is going to be a force multiplier. You're going to have people that help you out. You're going to have more people to help you run security on stuff, to where you can do other tasks and you can also sleep. Just all kinds of stuff. You can have, if you suck at growing something on your farm, hey, we've got somebody that they're amazing on growing blueberries, or they're amazing on growing apples, and they can't grow green beans on their place to save their life, but you're the green bean queen, and green beans just grow out of your place like nobody's business. So you can trade out stuff. If you've got a massive amount of chickens and eggs, and you're like, I don't have the room to raise sheep, maybe your neighbor is the sheep whisperer, and he's got tons of sheep, and he's like, man, I don't have time for chickens. I hate messing with chickens. You can trade off with stuff. That's where the community aspect starts building in to that. And Cup V says, I have 70 foot harvest silo where I can climb and watch people from the top. Height is an advantage for lookouts. Oh yeah. I mean, I tell you too, that silo would be a great place to set up some antennas and a repeater for communications. I mean, if you get up there 70 feet, that's a pretty good height for an antenna. And Bill says, everyone has strep virus present in their body. And front to back of my property is 125 yards and fully visible from any point on the property. That's good to know. Then that's good to know that stuff and know that you can see and, pretty much everything that's going on your property. And Greg, learn to barter and develop those relationships now. Exactly. I mean, just like Greg's got bees, If I don't want to mess with bees and I'm like, I'm allergic to bees, I'm scared to death of them, my wife won't let me have bees. And Greg's like, I don't have this one thing and I'm raising it. Greg and I can trade. I can trade him some lamb for some honey. Do that kind of stuff. Build those relationships now. Go down there and find your neighbors. Talk to your neighbors. Be like, hey, what can we do? And the thing is, you're not going to partner up in a bad situation. If you don't know these people, you're going to have a hard time partnering up with these people and just getting to know them in a stressful situation. You need to get to know these people right now in the good times or the semi good times. Build a relationship now. Don't wait until everybody's starving to death and everybody's shooting people and stuff. And you're like, hey, let's be buddies. And it's like, nah, I don't know about that. You need to know these people for a while before you actually, quote, get in bed with them and become friends and stuff. Energy. Everybody's like, I've got my solar generator, I'm good. Or I'm going to power my whole house off my generator. Or, you're heating your whole house with one of those little buddy heaters kind of thing. Those little buddy heaters are great for doing, a room or possibly 2 rooms or a decent size room. They will put out some heat. But I can tell you this much, if I put one of those buddy heaters in a bigger area, my shop is a 30 by 50 shop. If I turn that thing on in that shop, you won't even know. It would be essentially almost like lighting a lighter in a standard sized bedroom. It's just not going to work. You're not going to run everything off solar unless you've invested a huge amount in your solar system. I mean, yes, there are some people that have their whole house running on solar. They've got their shops running on solar and everything does that. But they've invested thousands and thousands of dollars in it to where most people are not going to invest thousands and thousands of dollars into it. I'm at the point to where it's like, I'm not going to invest and run my whole property off solar just because the juice is not worth the squeeze on it. And a lot of people are like, hey, I've got my small solar generator. We're going to run everything. It'll run a refrigerator for 3 hours. And it's like, cool, but it's going to take 12 hours with solar panels to recharge that thing. That's where you should get into building some bigger battery banks and stuff like that instead of the solar generators. So get in and do that. And then the people are like, hey, I'm just going to run my whole house off a generator. If you look and see how much fuel those generators run or how much fuel those generators are consuming every hour, you're going to run out of fuel quick if you're running those things 24/7. Well, I've got a military diesel generator. It's a single cylinder ONA. It's 75% load, and this is all the stats and everything that I pulled off the internet for this generator. At 75% load, it burns 1/3 of a gallon per hour. So every 3 hours, it's going to burn 1 gallon of fuel. So if you do the math, you can figure out if you're running that thing 24/7, how much fuel you're going to burn on it. And then, stuff like that, figure out, hey, I've got 55 gallons of fuel. We're going to burn through this. And then if you're getting a whole house generator, like a 10, 15, 20 kW generator, those things are going to suck fuel down big time. BBC, when is the next meetup? We are trying to plan one in January. So because we're going to get through Christmas and all that good stuff and then probably plan one in January. I have to talk to Shelly. That is one of the things. Shelly and I have to have a meeting this weekend, and we're going to have a meeting this weekend, figure out some times and stuff like that. But I am planning on like late January, something like that. So stay tuned. We'll post it on the website. We'll send emails out. Just make sure you're on the email list if you're not. And of course, I mean, if you're on here, I'll announce it as soon as we get something going. But stay tuned for that. Shelly and I will know something probably by the end of the weekend is what is my plan. Let me see. And Cuckbee Solar power works good until it's cloudy out days on end. Yeah, solar power is great as long as the sun's shining. And Bill says, from the start when we bought our property, I started building a relationship with my neighbors, and that's about 20 houses within a quarter mile. That's exactly what you got to do. Know those friends, know those. And Greg told me about this before. They do a 1 or 2 community bonfires each year. And then that way he told me, he's like, we do a community bonfire. Everybody that wants to comes over. We get to hang out and meet these people in good times, and then kind of feel them out and be like, hey, this guy's not real cool, or this guy's pretty cool. I'm glad he moved in. And Bill, keep your friends close, your enemies closer. Yeah. And I've got a wind turbine in the works. It's a DIY, simple, low-cost power. Yeah, and if you've got a place, if you're up on a ridge and you've got wind blowing all the time, hey, a small little windmill and a wind turbine would do a lot for you. So as far as the energy denial stuff, people don't understand fuel consumption. They don't understand how long propane lasts, and how much. Figure out, even if you've got a propane furnace in your house, or if you've got gas logs, figure out, it's a 50,000 BTU set of gas logs, and I've got a 500-gallon propane tank out here. Do the math. I mean, you can get on the interwebs and figure out how many gallons of propane every hour you're burning, or if you're going to run these things 24/7, figure out how long it's going to last. It's pretty simple math that you can do. I figured some of that stuff on how long my logs are going to last with a tank. And I then also remember a 500-gallon propane tank is not going to have 500 gallons of propane in it. Lynn Dudley, good morning. Thanks for jumping in here. A 500-gallon propane tank is not going to have 500 gallons of propane in it, because they only fill it to 80% volume. Sometimes they'll fill it a little bit over 80% in the wintertime, but in the summertime, they're only going to fill it at 80% because of expansion. A lot of people don't know how to load their generator. They think they run out to TSC, bought a 10,000 kW generator, and they're like, this thing ought to run my whole house. And you plugged it up, you're running, your wife turns on the oven to cook something, and then you go in and you turn on the dryer and you're kicking breakers and the generator's going out. And you're just like, why won't it run everything? And then you got to figure out how to load your generators. And then people don't know how fast their batteries are going to drain out of stuff. Like one thing, I've got my EDC flashlight. I use this thing every day for all kinds of stuff. And you're like, ooh, I've got, a pack of extra AA batteries for this. If you're using that thing all the time, you're going to run through batteries pretty quick. So figure out how fast you're going to run through batteries. That pack of 8 batteries is not going to last you very long whatsoever. And then another thing is, have you ever done a 24-hour shutdown on your house and not had power? Melanie, good morning. Have you ever done a 24-hour straight shutdown on your house and seen what it takes power-wise, how much resources you're going to run without the grid? So the last thing is, how do we fix it? How do we fix this stuff? Run a 24-hour power grid shutdown. Go shut the main breaker off at your house. See how you're going to run it. Let's see how much gasoline it actually takes to power those generators for 24 hours. Let's see what you're going to do with no water. Turn the water off in the house, and you're going to go over there and hit the thing for water, and you're like, oh crap, I've got to figure out and do this. You're going to see how big of a pain in the butt it is to go filter water out of your rain catchment and bring it in for a shower, stuff like that. Take a week and cook every meal that you eat out of your food storage, and pull out some of your freeze-dried food and be like, hey, we're going to have freeze-dried eggs and such and such for breakfast. Figure out, see how long it's going to take you to do it, because then you're going to have to heat your water up. You're going to have to pour it in there, let it hydrate. and then eat it. So figure that out, and then figure out if you're actually going to like rice and beans, eating those, 2 or 3 times a week. Figure out how you're going to do it and be like, hey, this works for me. Test your generator. How many people have generators and they hadn't started those generators in the last 6 months? Raise your hand. I mean, how many people? I've seen it a lot before. People will do. They'll start their generator up. They'll run it for a little bit, and they're like, okay, cool, this thing's working. And then 2 years down the road, they need this generator in an ice storm, and they go out there and they pull on the thing, and it's like, crap. Now I've got to do something. It's not going to work. So look at that. Health is another thing on also, and I forgot all about that. I had everything written down. Health is one of those things. Walk your bug out route. How much energy and how much stuff, people are not as fit as they used to be. I'm trying to get back down to, quote, fighting weight, as people say, but you're going to be doing a lot of exercise and stuff like that. So get into shape. How many miles can you walk a day? If gas is scarce, you're not going to just jump in your truck and drive everywhere you want to. It's going to go down to feet. You're going to be hiking it. You're going to be humping it and doing that. Or get you a bike. I mean, hey, I would much rather ride a bike than have to walk everywhere. So look at your fitness aspect. And Greg had said that too, and I had it written down, and I forgot about saying that. But fitness and stuff. Get on there. Start eating healthier. Start getting any of your health problems. Get that stuff taken care of now. Start do the whole eating better. Get off all the processed foods. You're going to feel so much better on doing that. And then if you're planning on bugging out, do your bug out route. See if you can actually walk that thing. Another thing is practice nighttime home defense. Yeah, it's great. I can see out this back window and everything and see if somebody's coming up through the field and stuff like that. Can you do that? Can you do that at night? Do you have a way to do that? Whether it's going to be night vision or thermal, or if you're just going to have your battery operated spotlight where you can light them up and see everything out there, have a plan for that. And then Darren says, our community gets together 4 times a year for a festival and invite new folks on top of all the homestead rotation work days and training sessions. Yeah, they're building a great community out there in Kansas where they're actually doing the work, and they've got people that are coming in and they're feeling them out and talking to these people and actually doing life with these people. That's one of the big things. Hey, you can wave at your neighbor every time. You can kind of have him over once and do this, but it's like you're going to have to do life with these people, and not life in prison, but you're going to have to live with these people, do stuff all the time with them, call them up, be like, hey, let's go eat lunch, and just sit down and eat lunch with these people. Hang out with them all the time, help them do some stuff. And then Bill says, my generator gets started once a month, regardless of what else we do. Yeah, start that joker, pull them out, start them up. I've had all 4 of my generators at one time out here running. It was god awful loud, but I had all 4 of them going, making sure everything was working on it. And Dan, let me see. Hey, Jason, speaking of starting up your generator every once in a while to make sure that it's going to work is very important. I just want to start mine up. I just went to start mine up and it's dead. Looks like a battery, which mine doesn't seem to recharge. You're going to have to buy a new one. Yeah, and that's one of the things. You can set those jokers. You can set those batteries on like the small little trickle chargers and have that thing plugged up, and it will keep that small battery charged up. I would buy one of those in a heartbeat. I would buy one of those today. When you go and get your new battery, buy one of those trickle chargers. They're pretty stinking cheap, and you can just plug that joker in, and then your battery will always be ready to start the generator. And Bill says, I can tell you from experience, it takes a crap load of fuel to keep a few generators running for 2 weeks during a power outage. Yeah, it will. I mean, look at your fuel consumption. A lot of people are like, man, I got 20 gallons of fuel. The 20 gallons of fuel is not going to last very long at all if you're running like a 10 kW or something like that. generator. And then one of the other things is people want, and people get this generator deal. It's like, I've got to have a generator to run my whole house. You don't have to have a generator to run your whole house. You don't have to have every light in the house on. You don't have to be able to run the cooktop and the oven the same time as you're running the washing machine and the dryer. And when you're running the furnace and all this, it's like, the bigger the generator, the more fuel it's going to run. You can do a lot smaller generator and just figure out when you need to run stuff. So don't run the range and don't run the dryer at the same time. You know, let's cook dinner, and then after we're done cooking dinner, then we can run the washer and dryer and stuff like that. So you don't need, you know, like a 20 kW generator to run your whole house. Get you something like a 7,000 watt, something like that. That's going to run the bulk majority of stuff. But do make sure, if you have a well and it's running on 220, that you've got a 220 volt plug and you've got enough amperage to run that well pump. So just make sure of that. Cut B says, I'm trying to lose weight, making a conscious effort to eat a lot less food. Yeah, I'm doing that. I'm still carnivoring it and stuff like that. So I'm feeling good. Last night I ate a little bit of carbs and don't feel horrible bad about it, but you know, just a few. I'm trying to keep it under like 20 or 30 grams of carbs a day. I like carbs a lot, so I'll eat, you know, 20 or 30 grams a day. So technically, I guess I'm probably keto. So let me see. Josh says, I don't understand how anyone would be doing more work. What exactly is it will be doing when you're stuck on your property that you don't now? Josh, kind of think about it. You don't have, if your tractor's down and fuel is, you know, we're going to have a problem getting diesel fuel for your tractor. Think about how much stuff you use your tractor for. Think about how much stuff you use your vehicle for. Think about if you've got no electricity, just all the stuff. Think about electricity. You're going to be hauling water. If you've got rain catchment set up outside, you're going to be hauling 5-gallon buckets of water into your house to get it in, unless you plumb the rain catchment into your house or do something like that. So just think about that, the physical work. You're going to be walking places that you want to go. You're going to be doing manual stuff. You're going to be, instead of going out, if you're going to disc your garden, you know, you're not going to disc it with the tractor when you've got limited amounts of diesel fuel. You're going to be out there by hand tilling your garden and doing stuff like that. There's a ton of stuff that you're going to be doing. And honestly, I think you're going to consume more calories than less calories. That's my opinion on it. Some people are like, heck, I'm already doing all this stuff. I might not be doing as much. I mean, it all kind of depends. I know think about it. If fuel is not in abundance and you need to cut firewood, are you going to use all your extra gasoline up on that chainsaw, or are you going to get your crosscut saw and your axe out? You're going to run your log splitter to split that wood, or are you going to get the maul out and split it that way? So you got to kind of look at that. And Cut B says, you'll also be cutting wood for heat in the winter. Bill says, we had 3 houses and a well for that 2 weeks. A refrigerator or freezer only needs to cycle every hour or so. They can be cycled instead of all at once. Yeah. And then, hey, also, before I forget, I said it before, a bunch of people weren't in here, but if you have come to the festival or purchased any products from us from the website, I need you to do me a favor and go to the website and write a review. If you we sent out emails to all the customers that have bought tickets and bought products from us before, but if you bought products or come to the festival, go to the website and write a review for us, please. It's going to help us out tremendously. And also share the video out. That helps a bunch with YouTube's algorithm. Both those things are free. It's going to take you a few minutes to do a review, but I would love it. It would mean a lot to Shelly and I if you could go in and write a review for us. I appreciate it if we could get, Heck, we've had 500 some people come through the festival each time, so we ought to be able to get a ton of reviews. Heck, I know a lot of people here have been to the festival, so go to the website. It's free. Write a review for us. It helps us out a bunch. And then Greg, try to only eat what you produce or trade with the neighbors for a month. That would be something that would be pretty cool to do. Stuff from your local area, trade it out and try and see what you can do for a month, and then come up with. It would be cool if you documented it. Hey, this is what I ate in a month, and put where it came from. Maybe put this was my pork that I ate, and then I traded with Sally Joe or whatever for these vegetables and stuff like that, and keep a journal of it. That would be a cool journal to have. If you're having to refuel generators and it's freezing outside, that itself is going to be more calories than normal. Yeah, for sure. Let me see. And Darren says Harbor Freight has $10 battery tenders for your generator. Yeah, I would get one of those things and plug that joker in there and go. And let's see. Josh says it depends on what normal is for you. I work from home. Some people are outside doing manual labor all year long. Yeah. Now, I mean, Josh, I'm doing manual labor. Granted, I'm a general contractor, so my day, I use my tractor for a lot of stuff, and I use my truck for a lot of stuff. So you're going to have a little bit more. I mean, if I don't have to use a tractor for something, I'm not going to, but a lot of us are lazy. I'll jump on the tractor to move some feed around or something like that. But I know what manual labor is all year round, and I do it all year round, and I know how many calories I'm eating every day. Bill says, I'm retired, and all my work is manual labor at 66 years old. Not everybody has a manual labor job. Some people only do office work. Yeah. Got any advice for sharecropping? I may be a jack of all trades, but figure on buying a family compound soon, and would like to turn into a homestead into a business the kids can take over when I'm gone. Sharecropping stuff, I mean, it depends on what you're talking about as far as the sharecropping stuff. If you've got your own family compound and stuff, you should have the room to do your own crops. Maybe, I don't know, if you're talking about using somebody else's place to grow your food on, talk to them, feel them out. Be like, hey, if I take care of this acreage for you, can I put a garden on it? Can I do some raised beds, something like that? And work up a plan with them, get to know them, and be like, hey, and if they don't try not to do it financially, don't be like, hey, for X amount every year, can I grow a garden on here? Be like, hey, can I grow a garden on here, and I'll take care of this acreage of your place, and I'll give you some of the abundance out of the garden. Do something like that. My neighbor's got 4 acres right next to me that there's one guy was coming in. He would come in once a year and mow it for hay, and he wasn't getting super good hay off of it. And he told me, he's like, man, he said, it's more trouble than it's worth for me going over there and cutting it. And I'm like, do you care if I talk to the neighbor and see if I can run animals on it? And he's like, yeah. He said, it's a pain in the butt to bring a tractor over here and cut it. So I asked the neighbor, I'm like, hey, Larry, can I run, if I come in and put a temporary fence around the whole property, can I run the animals on it? And he's like, yeah. He's like, it'll keep it, cleared down and everything else, and it won't get overgrown and stuff. And the guy hadn't cut it for a couple years, so there were briars and everything else, small little saplings coming up. So I ran through there, cut all that crap out, and I put temporary electric fence up, and we run the animals over there. It keeps it eaten down, and then the guy's not having to pay somebody to bush hog it. So kind of look into that if you want to do something like that. So guys, that's all I've got. There's some of the exposed stuff and everything. Guys, if you need anything, shoot me an email. Don't forget the bleeding control kits are 15% off. Use the code bleed15, and you can get 15% off those. Also, go check out Backmaster for the sales. Use the code Homestead. That's going to save you another 15% off. They've got some smoking deals going. You need anything, shoot me an email with questions. And Forrest said, working on your homestead now will be different than working on it to survive. Yeah, exactly. So, guys, I got some orders to pack up and ship out, run to the UPS store, run to the post office, and then I've got to go lay some stone on my brother's fireplace for part of the day. Guys, I appreciate it, and I will be back here Tuesday morning, 8 o'clock. Y'all have an amazing weekend, and be careful out there. See you.